The ambulance sirens screamed through the mansion gates as 7-year-old Emma collapsed on the marble floor. Her twin sister Lily was already unconscious in her father's arms, her tiny body so light she felt like a feather. Both girls hadn't eaten a proper meal in 11 days. "Please, you have to save them!" Billionaire CEO Marcus Sterling shouted at the paramedics, his voice cracking with desperation. The richest man in the city was powerless to save his own daughters. But this wasn't the beginning of their story. To understand how two little girls from the wealthiest family in town ended up fighting for their lives, we need to go back 3 months earlier. Marcus Sterling owned half the buildings in downtown. His company made more money in one day than most people see in their entire lives. He had everything money could buy, except the one thing he wanted most: his daughters to be happy. The trouble started right after their mother died in a car accident 6 months ago. Sarah Sterling had been the heart of their family. She made pancakes shaped like butterflies, read bedtime stories with funny voices, and always knew exactly what to say when the girls felt scared. After the funeral, Emma and Lily became different children. They barely spoke, they barely smiled, and worst of all, they barely ate. "The girls need structure," Marcus told his assistant, Janet, as he paced around his giant office. "They need someone who can help them heal." Janet nodded and pulled out a thick folder. "I've found the best nannies in the country, sir, all highly qualified." The first nanny lasted exactly 3 days. Mrs. Henderson was strict and proper, with gray hair pulled back so tight it made her face look angry. She tried to force the twins to eat their vegetables by threatening to take away their toys. Emma threw her plate across the dining room. The china shattered against the wall like tiny white bombs. "I want Mommy!" Lily screamed, tears streaming down her cheeks. Mrs. Henderson packed her bags that same afternoon. The second nanny, Miss Rodriguez, was younger and tried to be their friend. She brought coloring books and promised ice cream if they'd just take one bite of their dinner. But Emma and Lily saw right through her fake smiles. They locked themselves in their bedroom and refused to come out for 2 whole days. Miss Rodriguez quit via text message. By the 4th nanny, Marcus was getting desperate. The girls were losing weight. Dark circles formed under their eyes like purple bruises. Their clothes hung loose on their shrinking frames. "Maybe they need therapy," suggested Dr. Patterson, the family doctor, during a house call. "Grief affects children differently than adults." "I've tried that too," Marcus replied, running his hands through his hair. "They won't talk to the therapist. They won't talk to anyone." The 5th nanny didn't even last 1 full day. The twins had learned to work together like a team of tiny rebels. When Miss Johnson tried to serve them lunch, they synchronized their attack. Emma accidentally spilled orange juice all over the woman's white dress, while Lily conveniently knocked the salt shaker into her soup. "This is impossible," Miss Johnson declared, orange juice dripping from her sleeves. "Those children are wild animals," Marcus watched from the doorway, his heart breaking. His daughters weren't wild animals. They were just 2 little girls who missed their mother so much it hurt to breathe. That night, he sat on Emma's bed while both girls pretended to sleep. Their breathing was so quiet, he had to lean close to make sure they were still alive. "I don't know what to do anymore," he whispered to the darkness. "I'd give away every dollar I have to see you both smile again." Emma's eyes fluttered open just a tiny bit, but she quickly closed them and turned away. The weeks crawled by like wounded animals. Marcus tried everything he could think of. He hired a chef who specialized in children's food. He bought toys and games and even a pony for the backyard. He took time off work, something he'd never done before, just to spend more time with them. Nothing worked. The girls ate less and less each day. A few bites of toast in the morning, maybe half an apple for lunch. Sometimes they'd completely skip dinner, claiming their stomachs hurt. "Sir," Janet said during one of their morning meetings, "I have to ask, what happens if they don't start eating soon?" Marcus couldn't answer that question. He refused to even think about it. By month 2, the twins were like ghosts floating through their enormous house. They moved slowly, spoke in whispers, and spent most of their time hiding in places where the adults couldn't find them. Marcus discovered their secret hideout under the grand staircase. They'd built a little fort out of pillows and blankets, and inside were dozens of pictures of their mother. Sarah smiling at the beach. Sarah is baking cookies in the kitchen. Sarah read them stories before bed. We want to go be with Mommy, Emma said in a voice so small it was barely audible when Marcus found them there one afternoon. She's waiting for us, Lily added, holding a photo of Sarah against her chest. That's when Marcus realized his daughters weren't just grieving. They were slowly giving up on living entirely. Panic set in like ice water in his veins. He called every child psychologist in the state. He researched eating disorders in children. He even flew in specialists from other countries. But Emma and Lily had made up their minds. If they couldn't be with their mother, they didn't want to be anywhere at all. By month 3, the situation became critical. The girls were eating maybe one small meal every 2 days. Their cheeks became hollow. Their arms looked like thin branches that might snap in a strong wind. We need to consider hospitalization, Dr. Patterson warned during his latest visit. Their bodies can't survive much longer without proper nutrition. No hospitals, Marcus said firmly. That will only make things worse. But he was running out of options. And more importantly, he was running out of time. That's when Janet walked into his office with a resume that looked different from all the others. Sir, I found someone unusual, she said, placing a single sheet of paper on his desk. Her name is Clara Martinez. She doesn't have traditional nanny experience, but her background is interesting. Marcus looked at the resume. Clara had worked as a grief counselor for children. She'd volunteered at orphanages in 3 different countries. She'd helped kids who'd survived natural disasters and family tragedies. But what caught his attention was a single line at the bottom. I don't believe in forcing children to do anything. I believe in helping them remember why they want to live. When can she start? Marcus asked. Clara arrived on a rainy Thursday morning. She was nothing like the other nannies. She was in her 30s with kind eyes and messy brown hair that looked like she'd just woken up. She wore old jeans and a sweater with a small hole in the elbow. Where are the girls? She asked, not even bothering to look around the mansion's impressive entrance hall. Marcus led her upstairs to the twins' bedroom. Emma and Lily were curled up together in Emma's bed, sharing a book they weren't actually reading. Emma, Lily, Marcus said gently, I'd like you to meet Clara. Both girls looked up with suspicious eyes. They'd learned not to trust new adults who came into their house with fake smiles and empty promises. But Clara didn't smile. She didn't introduce herself with a cheerful voice. Instead, she sat down on the floor and pulled out a small photo from her pocket. This is my mom, she said quietly, showing them the picture. She died when I was 8 years old. Emma and Lily looked at each other, then back at Clara. This was not what they expected. I stopped eating for a while too, Clara continued. I thought if I got sick enough, maybe I could go be with her. The room became so quiet that Marcus could hear his own heartbeat. Did it work? Lily whispered. Clara shook her head. No, but I learned something important. Our moms don't want us to be sad forever. They want us to keep living and growing and becoming amazing people. How do you know? Emma asked, her voice barely audible. Because that's what love does, Clara replied. Real love wants the best for you, even when it's hard. For the first time in 3 months, Marcus saw something flicker in his daughter's eyes. Not happiness yet, but maybe hope. Clara stood up and brushed off her jeans. I'm not gonna try to make you eat, she announced. I'm not gonna bribe you with toys or threaten you with punishments. The twins stared at her in confusion. Every other adult had tried those things. Instead, Clara continued, I'm going to show you something your mom left behind that you haven't discovered yet. What? Both girls asked at the same time. Clara smiled, not a fake nanny smile, but a real one that reached her eyes. You'll have to trust me to find out. She walked toward the door, then turned back. But I will tell you this. It's something she made specially for you. Something she hid in this house before she went to heaven. Emma and Lily sat up straighter in bed. Their mother had hidden something for them? If you want to find it, Clara said, you're going to need energy, and energy comes from food. With that mysterious statement, she left the room, leaving the twins staring at each other with wide eyes. For the first time in months, they felt curious instead of just sad. But what Clara didn't tell them was that she was taking the biggest gamble of her career. Because the truth was, She had no idea if their mother had actually hidden anything in the house. She was about to make a promise she might not be able to keep. And if she failed, these two little girls might give up on life completely. As Clara walked down the hallway, she pulled out her phone and began typing a desperate message to someone who might be able to help her, because she had less than 24 hours to find something, anything, that would convince Emma and Lily that their mother's love was still with them. The stakes couldn't be higher, and the clock was ticking. But just as Clara hit send on her message, she heard footsteps behind her. She turned around to see both twins standing in their doorway, looking at her with something she hadn't seen in their eyes since she arrived. Determination. "Clara," Emma called out, her voice stronger than before. "Yes? We want to find what Mommy left for us," Lily nodded beside her sister. "And we're hungry." Clara felt tears sting her eyes, but she blinked them away. This was just the beginning. The real challenge was about to start. Because what the twins didn't know was that finding their mother's hidden message would require them to go to the one place in the house they'd been avoiding since the funeral. The one room that held too many memories to bear. And Clara was about to ask them to be braver than any 7-year-old should ever have to be. Clara's phone buzzed with a reply to her desperate message. Her hands shook as she read it, standing in the mansion's grand hallway while the twins waited upstairs. The text was from Janet, Marcus's assistant. "Sarah's personal office is locked. Marcus hasn't opened it since the funeral. Key is in his desk drawer. Third one down, left side. Good luck." Clara's heart pounded. She was about to gamble everything on a room that might contain nothing but painful memories. "Clara?" Emma's small voice echoed down the hallway. "Are you coming back?" "Yes, sweetheart," Clara called out, slipping her phone into her pocket. "But first, we need to have some breakfast. Real breakfast." She found Marcus in the kitchen, staring at his untouched coffee. His face looked like he'd aged 10 years in the past 3 months. "They want to eat," Clara told him quietly. Marcus looked up so fast he nearly knocked over his mug. "What did you say?" "Your daughters are ready to try, but I need your help with something." Clara took a deep breath. "I need the key to Sarah's office." The color drained from Marcus's face. "I can't. That room. I haven't been in there since." "I know this is hard," Clara said gently. "But sometimes the things that hurt the most are exactly what we need to heal." Marcus stared at her for a long moment. Then, without a word, he walked to his study and returned with a small silver key. "If this doesn't work," he whispered, "I don't know what will." "It will work," Clara said with more confidence than she felt. "Trust me." But as she took the key, her mind raced with doubt. What if Sarah's office was just a regular workspace? What if there was nothing special there for the girls? What if she just made a promise she couldn't keep? Upstairs, the twins were sitting at their small table by the window. Clara had asked the cook to prepare something simple: scrambled eggs, toast, and orange juice. Food that wouldn't overwhelm their shrunken stomachs. "Before we eat," Clara announced, "I want to tell you both something important." Emma and Lily looked at her with wide eyes. "When people we love go to heaven, they don't just disappear. They leave parts of themselves behind in the people and places they loved most." Clara sat down between them. "Your mommy loved you more than anything in the whole world, which means she left the biggest parts of herself with you. But we can't see her anymore," Lily said sadly. "You can," Clara replied. "You just have to know where to look." She picked up a fork and took a small bite of scrambled eggs. "Food gives us strength to search for the treasures people leave behind." Emma watched Clara eat, then slowly picked up her own fork. She took the tiniest bite possible, barely enough to taste. "It's okay," she whispered, as if she was surprised. Lily followed her sister's lead, taking a cautious bite of toast. Then another, then a sip of orange juice. For the first time in months, the sound of actual eating filled the dining room. Marcus appeared in the doorway, tears streaming down his face as he watched his daughters consume their first real meal in weeks. Clara caught his eye and nodded toward the hallway. They had work to do. After breakfast, a real breakfast where both girls finished half their plates, Clara led the twins through the mansion's winding corridors. Where are we going? Emma asked. To find your mother's surprise, Clara replied, the silver key burning like fire in her pocket. They stopped in front of a white door at the end of the west wing. The twins had walked past this door hundreds of times, but it had been locked for so long they'd forgotten what was inside. This was your mommy's special room, Clara explained, the place where she kept her most important things. Lily stepped backward. We're not supposed to go in there. Daddy said so. Daddy changed his mind, Clara said gently, showing them the key. Because some rules are meant to be broken when love is involved. The key turned with a soft click. The door swung open to reveal a room filled with golden sunlight streaming through tall windows. But this wasn't just any office. It was a room that told the story of Sarah Sterling's love for her family. The walls were covered with hundreds of photographs. Emma and Lily, as babies, taking their first steps, celebrating birthdays, playing in the garden. There were pictures of family vacations, quiet moments at home, and silly faces made just for the camera. But what made the twins gasp wasn't the photos. It was the corner of the room where their mother had created something magical. A child-sized reading nook with soft cushions and fairy lights. 2 small bookshelves filled with stories, and hanging from the ceiling, dozens of paper hearts in every color of the rainbow, each one dancing gently in the breeze from an open window. She was making this for you, Clara said softly. A special place where you could come read and feel close to her, even when she wasn't home. Emma and Lily stepped into the room like they were walking into a dream. Look, Lily whispered, pointing to a small desk covered with art supplies. There were half-finished drawings of butterflies, the same ones their mother used to make in their pancakes. On the desk was an envelope with both their names written in their mother's handwriting. She left us a letter, Emma said, her voice filled with wonder. Clara picked up the envelope with trembling hands. Would you like me to read it to you? Both girls nodded, settling into the reading nook like they belonged there. Clara opened the envelope and unfolded a letter written on paper, decorated with tiny flowers. My beautiful Emma and Lily, she began, her voice steady despite the tears in her eyes. If you're reading this, it means something has happened to me, and I can't be there to tuck you in at night or make you butterfly pancakes in the morning. The twins moved closer to each other, holding hands. I want you to know that dying doesn't mean I stopped loving you. Love is the one thing that never dies, never disappears, never goes away. It just changes shape. Clara paused to wipe her eyes. My love for you has become part of the wind that plays in your hair, part of the sunshine that warms your face, part of every beautiful thing you see in the world. But most importantly, Clara continued reading, my love lives inside your hearts. Every time you're kind to someone, that's me. Every time you're brave, that's me. Every time you take care of each other, that's me. Emma was crying now, but they weren't the hopeless tears she'd been crying for months. These were different tears, sad but somehow healing. I know it's hard to eat when your heart hurts, the letter continued. But your bodies are precious gifts that I helped create. Taking care of yourselves is a way of honoring the love we share. Lily looked up at Clara. Mommy wants us to eat? She wants you to live, Clara replied. Because that's what mothers do. They want their children to grow up strong and happy and full of love. The letter continued. I've left you this special room where you can come whenever you miss me too much. Read books here, draw pictures here, talk to me here. I'll be listening, even if you can't see me. At the bottom of the letter was a drawing their mother had made, 2 little girls with angel wings, flying toward a woman who looked just like them. And remember, Clara finished reading, taking care of yourselves isn't betraying me. It's the greatest gift you can give me. Because a mother's love means wanting her children to thrive, even when she can't be there to see it. The room fell silent, except for the gentle rustling of the paper hearts overhead. Then Emma did something she hadn't done in 6 months. She smiled. I'm hungry, she announced. Really, really hungry. Me too, Lily agreed. Can we have lunch? And maybe butterfly pancakes tomorrow? Clara laughed through her tears. I think we can arrange that. As they walked back to the kitchen, Marcus was waiting in the hallway. He looked at his daughters, really looked at them, and saw something he thought was gone forever. Life, hope, the spark that made them who they were. Daddy, Emma said, running to hug him. Mommy left us a room, and she wants us to eat, Lily added, wrapping her arms around his waist. Marcus held both girls close, his heart finally beginning to heal. She wants you to do a lot more than eat, he whispered. She wants you to live. From that day forward, everything changed. The twins didn't magically become happy overnight. They still had sad days and moments when they missed their mother so much it hurt. But they learned that loving someone doesn't mean giving up on life when they're gone. Clara stayed with the family, not as a nanny, but as a friend who understood that grief isn't something to be fixed. It's something to be carried with love. Emma and Lily returned to their mother's room every day. They read stories in the reading nook, drew pictures at her desk, and talked to her about everything, their dreams, their fears, their daily adventures. And they ate. They ate breakfast together every morning. They tried new foods and rediscovered old favorites. They gained weight and color returned to their cheeks. Most importantly, they remembered something crucial. Taking care of themselves wasn't just about their own survival. It was about honoring the love their mother had given them and keeping her memory alive through the way they chose to live. 6 months later, Marcus found his daughters in Sarah's room, painting a picture together. "What are you making?" he asked. "A picture of our family," Emma replied, showing him a painting of 4 people holding hands. Marcus, Emma, Lily, and a woman with angel wings standing behind them. "Mommy's not gone," Lily explained matter-of-factly. "She just lives in a different place now, but she's still part of our family." Marcus smiled, finally understanding what Clara had taught them all. Love doesn't end with death. It transforms. It becomes the reason we choose to keep living, keep growing, keep believing in tomorrow. And sometimes, when the evening light hit Sarah's room just right, Marcus could swear he felt her presence there, not as a ghost, but as the living embodiment of love that never dies. The twin daughters of the Millionaire CEO had learned the most important lesson of all. The greatest way to honor someone you've lost is to live the fullest life possible. Their mother's love had saved them, not by bringing her back, but by teaching them that they were worth saving. And for the first time since the accident, the Sterling house was filled with laughter, hope, and the beautiful sound of children who had remembered how to live.